Welcome back to the class, everyone. We're going to be talking about resource efficiency once again, more specifically about how you can get the cheapest price for signal data. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of all the new information that we've amassed, we do need to go over previous information that has already been stated and is still valid. When it comes to farming signal data, the absolute best way to do it day in and day out is to refresh your normal Cantina Energy 3 times for the 100 cost. I have already done that today, so we are seeing a purchase price of 200. This remains bad, the 100 remains good. That is still the cheapest way for you to get your signal data, is by purchasing it through there and going over to the Cantina store and farming whatever signal data. That remains the same. However, I noticed something, and I've been trying this for a few weeks now to get this to work, but the daily deals that pop up in the pack store, I typically ignore these. They're not really that eye-catching in my opinion, because anytime that they involve any other piece that you don't need, they come off as a worse deal than shipments. However, what I've been wanting to happen for, like I said, weeks, finally happened. I get a pack that is exclusively signal data, and when we do the math, this becomes a better deal than shipment. So why is this relevant? I feel like this is actually super relevant right now with Leviathan just coming out, and really not about Leviathan, but whenever a big farm comes out and requires a massive amount of relic levels like every single Galactic Legend has, this starts to become a pertinent part of the conversation, because what CG has done over the last couple months, or maybe even longer than that, is they've kind of let down all of the bottlenecks when it comes to gear 12, a little bit of gear 13, and even parts of relics. And what I'm getting at recently is we got the MK3 raid currency, which has made things like Zimbittles or Electriums or even impulse detectors to a certain extent a lot more manageable. So it puts this really huge gear bottleneck on signal data, because you can't take your characters to higher relic levels no matter how much of this you have if you can't get signal data. And one of the really big bummers about signal data is it continues on every single relic level. One of the things that happens on the salvage side is that the lower relic levels will only use lower pieces, and the higher relic levels, funnily enough, will start to cut off some of the lower relic salvage pieces. This doesn't happen with signal data. Signal data just keeps getting massiver and massiver. I don't even know if those are real words, but the amounts keep increasing every single time, to the point where I can never justify really this amount of signal data when I still need how many of my Imperial Troopers to be R5. Anyways, that's why this is important. But if we go back to the math that I had referred to earlier, and we start to run things, if I'm doing my 3 100 crystal refreshes, which the price here shows that is still a better deal than buying it out of the store. However, that daily deal that we saw earlier, specifically the bronze impact that only had signal data, if we start to do the math, these first 3 are the actual salvage amounts that we saw there, the 25, the 5, and the 10. I guess just for cross-reference sake, so this doesn't become super confusing, you can see that right here. We have the 25, we have the 5, and the 10, and then coming back here, we show what the actual prices of all that is in store. The blue piece is actually going to cost us 750 if we wanted that amount from the store. The green piece would cost us 100 crystals if we wanted that amount of them from the store, and the gray piece would cost us 150, meaning that if I wanted to get this same exact amount of crystal, or the same amount of signal data through the store, the shipments, which is currently the second best place to get them, it would cost me 1,000 crystals. So I'm getting a 20% discount on that. And quite frankly, even looking at these two deals, they're not terrible, but I guess let's actually open the math for that. Just so we have full clarity here, the deal does slightly get worse in regards to signal data. You can see here it's about a 20% discount, or 80% premium, however you want to word that. And chromium, actually, that pack was not good to be bought with crystals if you're specifically trying to go for the signal data. And the reason why it gets worse is because it's pricing in impulse detectors and the other 2 relic pieces. And for some players out there, maybe that's a good deal, but I just don't need this. I get so much of this through so many other places that this is always going to be the bottleneck for me. So this pack really just doesn't interest me. And even awkwardly enough, this pack here is semi-decent, because if we pull up again our spreadsheet with all the data plugged in, we can see that it is coming out at a cheaper price. We're paying about 85% of what we'd be paying if we got all that through the store. But even then, I'm always there for the biggest deal. I want as much off the price as I can get. I don't like buying things that I don't need when it comes to in-game currency. So for myself, if I'm trying to get the most bang for my buck, trying to get ahead on this signal data bottle crunch or bottleneck or whatever we want to call it, this has definitely going to be the pack for me. So I've been talking for 5 minutes right now about, hey, look at this cool pack I got. It's great. And a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, this is useless to me. I go into my game, I don't have this pack in there. So how these packs work, they are different from every other pack in here. When CG wants to release some random pack because there's an event going on, or because they think you'll need it for whatever reason, specifically because of the event, they'll put them in there. But these daily deals, these are supposed to be customized for the player, and I don't understand this 100% how to get these deals, but I can share with everyone what I did, or what I've been doing over the past 2 or 3 weeks to get it to push tier, because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, these looked terrible. It was a bunch of like gear 12, or not even gear 12, but like Carbantes and stun guns and stun cuffs. I'm not sure why it was there. I have some suspicions, but I wanted to change it. I wanted to get specifically signal data so that I would be able to get a Leviathan or whatever else is coming up faster. So I started to change my strategy. I asked a lot of questions around Discord. Shout out to Qui-Gon Jinn on Discord. I know that's probably a pretty popular name, but he's the one who originally gave me this idea. And what I've been doing is I've been consistently switching out a character in my favorites at relics, and whenever I want to farm signal data, I'm not going through the Cantina board. So what do I mean by that? A lot of people, when they want to farm their signal data, they'll click on their Cantina battles at the very beginning of the day, they'll look at this, they'll hit sim for how many times, and then they'll just call it a day. Don't do that, or at least, again, from my experience, that wasn't working. That wasn't shifting that daily deal. So what I've been doing is I've been going into the character, whoever it is. Right now it's Iden Versio. Before Iden, I was doing it with Moff Gideon. Before Moff Gideon, I was doing it with probably Sith Marauder. No, what would be Sith Marauder? Sith Empire Trooper or something like that. And I was coming in, clicking specifically on it, hitting find, and then farming it in the same exact location, but through this. And what's interesting is this doesn't seem to be consistent across the board, because as you can see, and the rest of my favorites, I have a ton of these characters here. And I've been farming their shards the exact same way. And as you guys could see from my daily deals, that wasn't popping up. So there is more here. And this is where I guess I farm interaction from the comment section. And I ask you guys, what have you noticed is impacting those daily deals? Is it you coming through here, clicking on the character and finding the resource you need? Is it you buying them outright with crystals? Is it taking other samples of other daily deals you've already bought? I guess for data's sake, just so everyone's aware, I've never actually bought one of these before because I've never considered them a good deal. Again, if I don't need everything that is in there, and if I'm not getting a discount that I would be getting from, you know, the best or second place out there in the game to get it, I don't see this necessary. But you know what? I'm just going to buy this and see what happens. Maybe this will increase it. Maybe it'll come back more. Maybe the algorithm will try to find more ways to use this, or maybe it'll go to something else. I have no idea how it works. But that is, again, my experience, what I've done. Putting that character into favorites, those relic characters into favorites, only one at a time, by the way, and specifically going through the character model to be able to get the relic material, going through the green, the blue, whatever. I've been farming all three because you have to farm all three to relic up characters. That was kind of what our complaint was about before, but that is going to be it for today. Let me know what you guys think. I think this is pretty important for any free-to-play player that has a lot of crystals, or even maybe a light spender, because signal data, at least for myself, has continued to be one of the largest bottlenecks in game. And really, any cheaper way that I can get it, the better, because it seems to be what CG is just not going to let up on, because they've let up on just about everything else. But thank you guys for watching, and until the next time, stay awesome.